Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's installment in our Noontime Knowledge series for Penn State fundraising volunteers. My name is Ned Brockloff. As a 1982 graduate of the College of Engineering, I found many ways to stay connected to my alma mater. My day job is as a defense research liaison between the College of Engineering and Penn State's Applied Research Lab. But more importantly, I serve on 3 different advisory councils as a Penn State fundraising volunteer and a longtime supporter of today's featured organization, Thon. But before we get started with our presentation, just a few housekeeping notes for us. This session will be recorded and shared with you, as well as those who couldn't be here live today. Your microphones are currently muted, but we encourage you to turn on your cameras so that we can have a chance to see one another. Finally, following the presentation, I'll moderate a question and answer session. You can submit a question at any time by using the chat box, or you can raise your hand and unmute yourself later to ask a question in real time during the question and answer portion. With that, we're ready to get started. It's February at Penn State, which means despite the cold, excitement is building. All eyes have turned to the Bryce Jordan Center and the remarkable student volunteers preparing for Thon Weekend 2022. I've been involved with Thon for over a decade, both as a mentor and a donor. My personal donations don't go directly to the Four Diamonds Fund, but instead are used by the Thon directors to make the infrastructure of their student organization stronger. I like to contribute from behind the scenes. My mantra is I'd like to see my $1 help Kate and her Thon directors raise another $100, rather than simply having that $1 go directly to Four Diamonds. But it's truly inspirational to work with these students. But I'd like to also remind you that their only mission isn't just fundraising. Another incredible part of their mission is the emotional support, spanning literally several years, that they provide to the Thon families and their children. But as proud as I am of their resiliency this last year in conducting a virtual Thon, I can't wait to return to the BJC in person, because there's nothing like standing on the BJC floor with all the dancers and feeling the powerful energy of 16,000 student volunteers in the stands. Of course, many of you feel the same way as I do. Anyway, you don't have to take my word for it. I think today's guest will do plenty to represent the hard work, determination, and altruism of the organization that she's led this past year. With that, I'd like to introduce today's presenter, Kate Colgan. Kate is a senior from Dillsburg, Pennsylvania, studying public relations with minors in sociology and psychology. Kate is the executive director of Thon 2022. Kate previously served as a rules and regulations fundraising safety captain and director, and she's been involved with Thon for the entirety of her Penn State career. After graduation, Kate hopes to pursue a career in the nonprofit sector. I've known Kate for a little over a year now, and I don't think you'll find anyone else who has Thon rooted in her heart and soul as much as Kate has. Kate inspires a whole team of Thon directors. I hope that you get the same opportunities that I've had to meet each and every one of these Thon directors who make me, Penn State, proud. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Kate to get things started. Kate?
Thank you so much, Ned. Good morning, everyone. As Ned said, my name is Kate Colgan, and I'm the Executive Director for Thon 2022. And I'm here today to share a little bit with you about this organization that many of us know and love. So for those of you who aren't familiar or would like to know a little bit more about Thon, Penn State Thon is the world's largest student-run philanthropy. We consist of 16,500 student volunteers who are all committed to conquering childhood cancer. Our sole beneficiary is Four Diamonds at Penn State Health Children's Hospital, and we've been partners with them since 1977. 96 cents of every dollar that we raise is donated directly to Four Diamonds, and that's largely in part to all of our student volunteers and the volunteer efforts that they provide. And since 1977, we've raised over $190 million for Four Diamonds. A little bit more about Four Diamonds. It was created in 1972 by Charles and Irma Millard after the passing of their son, Christopher. The organization is actually named after a story that Chris wrote about the qualities that he thought were needed to defeat childhood cancer: courage, honesty, wisdom, and strength. Four Diamonds benefits families that are diagnosed with childhood cancer at Penn State Health Children's Hospital, which is located in Hershey, Pennsylvania. They cover 100% of the medical bills that are not covered by insurance, and they provide other support resources such as child life care, art support, music therapy, all sorts of different resources to help families in their battle against childhood cancer. They also fund innovative research in pursuit of a cure to benefit families worldwide beyond just our little corner of the US. And over 4,800 families have been helped since their inception in 1972. A little bit more about Thon's history. Thon was created in 1973 at Penn State University. So this makes this year the 50th Thon and also the 50th anniversary of Four Diamonds. The first Thon was held in the Hub Ballroom. It was a 30-hour dance marathon and there were 78 dancers. It's since grown into the world's largest student-run philanthropy with around 700 dancers every year and 16,500 supporters and student volunteers coming to celebrate the weekend with us. As I mentioned, we paired with Four Diamonds in 1977 and are celebrating our 50th year of this organization this year. Thon is a year-long effort. Our efforts throughout the year culminate in a 46-hour no sitting, no sleeping dance marathon, which is held every February, as Ned mentioned, at Penn State in University Park, PA. Our students fundraise, spread awareness, and plan year-round. It's truly an effort that begins right after the previous Thon year ends and continues until Thon weekend, and then starts all over again in just a few weeks. Our 16,500 student volunteers are members of both committees and organizations. So any organization can be involved in Thon here at Penn State, and it's truly a cause that brings together the Penn State community. As I mentioned, we have a lot of different volunteers that are contributing in many different capacities. So we have myself, the executive director, and our executive committee who oversee the organization. And then we have two main facets of the organization. So one is committees, and those are our students who assist in the planning and running of Thon events, facilitating our fundraising efforts and facilitating interactions and support to families. And then we have organizations who are recognized Penn State student organizations that participate and fundraise for Thon. These can be any organization who's a student organization here can get involved with Thon, and they can fundraise and be represented with dancers during Thon weekend. So this can be Greek organizations such as fraternities and sororities. It can be club sports. It can be special interest organizations who are dedicated to fundraising for Thon. It can be Commonwealth campuses and special mission campuses. And then we also have independent dancer couples, which are students who can sign up to fundraise to dance as a pair in Thon weekend. And they work for an entire year to raise funds in hopes of getting chosen in the dancer lottery. As I had mentioned, we have a lot of volunteers that are contributing through Thon committees. So as you can see here, we have all different committees that are dedicated to ensuring that Thon can happen and facilitating our fundraising, our events, our awareness, and our interactions with our families. So all of these volunteers can participate in lots of different ways and are truly what helps Thon to survive and to be facilitated on the back end. As I had mentioned before, any student organization at Penn State can participate in Thon. We're constantly seeing new organizations sign up to fundraise and be involved in Thon. And it's truly something that brings the whole Penn State community together. That is something that all of the students here can do together and can be united in. They can also be paired with Four Diamonds families through the Adoptive Family Program, which is a really unique opportunity for our student volunteers to be really close to our mission. They're able to adopt a family and get to know that family and spend time with the family and their parents and the children and really provide that emotional support to them as friends through their journey with childhood cancer. Thon hosts a variety of events throughout the year to continue to provide engagement with our families and our volunteers and to continue to spread awareness and build excitement about Thon as the year rolls on. So we have our Thon 5K powered by PNC, our Dream Forward campaign. We have a 100 Days Till Thon celebration that's held at the Hub here on campus. We have a logo reveal event where we reveal our logo that will represent the year. We have a family carnival, which is an opportunity for families to gather with our students for a day of fun. We have a showcase, which is a talent show for our organizations and other student volunteers to showcase their talent here on campus. And then we have Thon Weekend 2022, which this year is February 18th through 20th, 2022. After Thon Weekend wraps up, we have our Closer to a Cure celebration, which is a banquet dinner that we have to celebrate our efforts throughout the year and honor some of our student volunteers who really go above and beyond. A little bit more about our Dream Forward campaign. So Dream Forward is a 16-day campaign. This year, it had a goal of $600,000. The campaign aims to raise funds and awareness and kick off the Thon fundraising season and really set the momentum for fundraising throughout the rest of the year. We have a variety of events for student engagement to really get students thinking about Thon and realizing that Thon is coming up and is very near. This year, we raised over $1.05 million in just 16 days. And then we have Thon Weekend 2022. So this year, as I had said, it's February 18th through 20th at the Bryce Jordan Center. There will be COVID mitigation protocols in place for those who are attending in person so that we can keep the event as safe as possible for all who are joining us in person. It's free and open for anyone to attend, and it includes a variety of stage events, performances, stories from families, and more. There's so much engaging activity that happens throughout the weekend. But there's also a live stream that anyone can join from anywhere and can tune in and join us for Thon Weekend. This live stream includes many of the events that are happening during Thon Weekend in person, but also exclusive events that can only be seen on the live stream. It is also free and open for anyone to attend and will run for the entirety of the 46-hour event. So how can you help? You can spread the word. A large part of Thon's mission is awareness. So tell people about who we are and what we do and help us in our mission to conquer childhood cancer. You can donate at donate.thon.org. Something that we say is that Thon doesn't have 10 $1 million donors. We have 1 million $10 donors. So every little bit makes the biggest difference in the lives of children and families battling childhood cancer. You can follow us on social media and check out our website at thon.org to learn more about our organization, our student volunteers, and our families. And then you can also sign up for our alumni newsletter by emailing alumni.engagement@thon.org. And then a little bit more about why we Thon. We Thon so that no parent has to hear the words, your child has cancer. Throughout our partnership with 4 Diamonds, no family has ever seen a medical bill. We've been able to provide a light during a difficult time in families' lives and have allowed them to make connections and memories that will last a lifetime. Thon gives kids the opportunity to just be kids, to make friends with college kids, and to have fun days that are just meant for them to just enjoy themselves. And finally, because one day we will dance in celebration, but until then, we dance for a cure. I believe Ned is going to facilitate some question and answer, but with any additional questions, you can always reach out to me at director@thon.org as well.
Great. Thank you very much, Kate. That was fantastic. I'm sure you all can tell why Thon is such a great organization when you have leaders like Kate. I'm looking in the chat and I don't see any questions for you yet, Kate, but fortunately for you, I have a few of my own. And you talked about why we Thon and the importance of that with the families and the students, but could you tell us a little bit about why you got involved with Thon? What first started you involved with Thon and what just motivates all those creative juices in you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have been around Thon for my entire life. It was just something that I grew up with and was just a part of my life. My cousins were involved in Thon when I was really little. My first Thon was actually in 2001 when I was about 2 years old. And for a really long time, it was just a really fun weekend that I got to go to and support my cousins and, bounce a ball and eat some fun food and see lots of fun colors. But as I got older, I started to really understand the true meaning behind the event and the difference it was making in the lives of these children and families who really were just like me. So as I got older, I became involved with Mini-Thon at my middle school and high school, and I really found a love for helping others and making a difference in others' lives. And from then, it was something that I really couldn't imagine my life without, and I knew that I wanted to come to Penn State and be involved with Thon here.
Fantastic. Thank you, Kate. Do we have any other questions from the audience here? Don't force me to ask my questions. I'm going to start calling on people to ask a question.
Kate, I have a quick question, I guess. Other than sending dancer mail, for example, which I did get some information about that, and maybe you could share that with everybody here. Is there any other way to support the dancers through actual Thon weekend?
Yeah, absolutely. So dancers are able to elect people that they would like to be on pass lists that can come down and visit them throughout the weekend. So they love to see people that come down to see them and to provide them some support and to give them some energy and say that they look great and that they're doing great. Dancer mail is a huge pick me up. That's really something that is sometimes underappreciated or not thought of as something that would be really important, but is a huge pick me up for dancers. And dancers can receive an unlimited amount of mail of letters. So that's something that's hugely important that really does make a difference in their weekend when they're able to open those up every once in a while and read a letter from someone who's cheering them on. For any dancers that you can send dancer mail to 227D Hub. You'll want to address it to Thon and just put dancer mail in the byline, 227D Hub in University Park, PA. And then you'll just want to include in the address that it should be to whatever the dancer's name is and their dancer number. That's really important so we can identify who it should be going to, because if that's not on the envelope, we'll never figure out who it was meant for. So just making sure that is included as well. But those letters are something that's hugely important for dancers throughout the weekend and that they really look forward to. And so there's never too many letters that they can receive. So that's definitely a big one.
So Kate, in addition to letters, they can actually send a care package, right? And they also can go online and do electronic letters. Is that correct?
So care packages, each dancer is limited to 2 care packages. So when they register to dance, they elect which individuals they'd like to receive care packages from. So those people are communicated with directly, just because, as you can imagine, with about 700 dancers who might receive 5 packages each, that's about a box truck that we're filling and taking to the BJC. That's a little much for us to handle in that building that we're packing. So anyone who a dancer has asked to receive a package from has been communicated with. Most of our mail is physical, especially this year as we return to in-person, but that mail can be sent there. It can also be dropped off in that room for anyone who is on campus. They can take the mail there as opposed to mailing it. And that's a really easy way to make sure that it gets there on time and to the dancer.
Great, thanks, Kate. So we have a couple questions that have popped up in the window. The first one's about mini-thons and how those are going. Maybe you can explain the relationship between Thon and the mini-thons for some people who aren't familiar, and then how are things going with the mini-thons?
Absolutely. Yeah, so mini-thons are smaller versions of Penn State Thon that are held at middle schools, high schools, and even some elementary schools throughout Pennsylvania and the surrounding states, and even some further states across the country. It's a program that's run through 4 Diamonds, so it is entirely separate from Thon. A lot of times a common misconception is that the money that's raised for mini-thon goes into the Thon weekend total. That's actually not true. They're completely separate events that are raising incredible amounts of money both on their own. So mini-thons, a lot of times you will see people fundraising for mini-thons within your community. And it's a really great way for students who are in middle school, high school, and like I said, sometimes even elementary school to kind of get that first taste of philanthropy, of helping others, of giving back with something that they can participate in right in their school. So those were programs that I participated in middle school and high school and really sparked my love of giving back and of helping others. It's an incredible program and they're continuing to expand across Pennsylvania and into surrounding states. So they're going really well. You'll probably see a lot of them pop up in your towns over the next few weeks. Some of them are still being held virtually, just depending on the state of the school and the safety precautions that the students and the advisors elected to observe. But they're an incredible program and they're going really well.
Great, thanks, Kate. So maybe along those fundraising themes, one of our guests here has astutely pointed out that today is Alumni Fundraising and Matching Day. So maybe an opportunity for us to get a little extra support. Could you tell us about that program, please?
Absolutely, yes. So today is Alumni Fundraising and Matching Day. So we have a few different things happening today. The first is that alumni donations are being matched throughout the day today. So that's really exciting. Any alumni that donates and that marks on their donation form that they are alumni has the opportunity to have their donation matched. until our funds run out. And then we also have an alumni telethon that's happening this evening at, I believe, 7 p.m. That you can tune into at thon.org/livestream. And that will feature performances from current student volunteers, from alumni, and will be a really exciting event. So I would encourage you all to tune into that, even if not for the whole time, if just for a little bit, to check in and see what's happening there as well.
All right, great, Kate. This question's about how to set up someone's own donor page. And that may be a little too detailed for us here, but they're asking, hey, how do I set up a link, see who donated, and especially they want to be able to say thank you for those donations. And obviously that's a huge part of the Thon Nation. Maybe you cover that a little bit, and then we could put a link in the chat box here for people to be able to go form their own donor page.
Absolutely. So for those of you who are not aware, we have a fundraising opportunity for alumni and other Thon supporters, not even just alumni. It's called Thon Nation. And so it's an ability for for alumni volunteers and supporter volunteers to help with our fundraising efforts, not by them specifically giving, but by creating a page of their own for other people to give to, and to provide outreach to their family and friends that might not otherwise hear about or give to Thon. So there's lots of different ways that you can get involved, all of which is outlined on our website. So if you go to donate.thon.org/thonnation, all of that information will be there. There's lots of different options that you can check out and see what fits best for you.
Great, Kate. I remember a couple of years ago that there was a little bit of a competition between chapters. They encouraged alumni chapters to set up their own pages, and then a little good Penn State rivalry going on there. Does that still exist?
Yeah, alumni chapters are always welcome to set up their pages. I think oftentimes those alumni chapters incite that rivalry themselves, because a lot of times those chapter leaders know each other and are able to kind of connect through their efforts with Thon. So that's always an opportunity for alumni chapters who are not currently involved in fundraising to set up those pages and to join that friendly competition that is kind of always running.
Yeah, I know when I was in the alumni chapter down in Maryland, we loved that. Great question up here at the top of the list. There's lots of activities being planned for the dancers to pass those 42 hours by or 46 hours by and not go crazy. What are the top 3 favorite activities maybe in the past, and do you have something new planned this year?
There is so much for the dancers to engage with, and a lot of times things that people in the crowd don't even know are happening, because there's lots of different opportunities for dancers in the back hallways, in the back gym. There's lots of different opportunities for them to receive quick massages or to stretch, to read their dancer mail, to do fun things in the back gym. Something that's always a hit is called silent disco. So there are headphones that we have that everyone can put on, and the same music plays synchronized throughout all of them at the same time. But when you actually take the headphones off, there's no noise in the gym. Everyone is just dancing along to the music that they're hearing in their headphones. So that's a favorite of dancers. They really enjoy heading to the back gym for that silent disco opportunity. There's lots of different activities that happen throughout the weekend. There's a power remix, which is kind of like a dance class that dancers are able to participate in, and lots of things like that. So there are so many things that happen for dancers. Again, a lot of times that you can't even see from the crowd because they're happening in other places. We have what's called Treasure Chest, which is an opportunity for dancers to trade out their toys, their little puzzles and things like that they're playing with throughout the weekend, that dancers can stop by and can switch out the one that they've been given for a toy that someone else has turned in and has been cleaned before they're given back to them. So many things to engage dancers and to keep them busy throughout the time that they're on their feet.
So obviously with this year's event being in person, we have the opportunity to actually come to the BJC. If I have insomnia and I decide to come at like 3 a.m. on Friday or on Saturday or Sunday morning, is there anything going on, or am I just going to see a bunch of zombies kind of just waving there?
There is always stuff going on, especially over the overnight hours. There's often some really engaging things happening because of the fact that sometimes people will have gone home to sleep. So the building has emptied out a little bit and we want to keep dancers moving and on their feet. So there's always really fun musical acts that are happening overnight, and different engagement activities for the dancers. There's always line dances continuing to happen, and different things going on, because we do know that sometimes other people have gone home to sleep. So those are sometimes the most engaging times of the weekend, because we have to keep dancers moving and going.
Okay, great. Um, you mentioned, or I mentioned, I guess, that there's like 16,000 student volunteers that help make Thon work. And you're up at the top here. You've got your directors down below you. How do you get all the excitement and the creativity and the innovation coming out of those student ranks and kind of percolating up to you? I mean, that's just a massive amount of potential information and ideas to be able to handle.
Yeah, I would say definitely the key is just really good communication. So I think we start by just getting our student volunteers excited. A lot of the volunteers that we have coming in year after year have never heard of Thon. They've just heard that it's something that they should get involved with on campus, but they don't know what it is. So we really start by trying to just get them excited. We show them past recap videos. We share with them family stories so that they can understand why what we're doing is so important and that the families that we're helping are people who are just like us. And so that's kind of really where we start, is just getting students excited about what we're doing and passionate about the cause. And then from there, it's good communication. It's communication from me trickling down, and it's communication from them trickling back up. And that each person is passing on the information that they hear and that other people need to know.
All right, great. Thanks, Kate. What can you tell us maybe about the transition from in-person to virtual and back to in-person, which is obviously a huge evolution in how Thon has worked? And are there some, for the lack of a better word, lessons learned from the virtual Thon that are going to really help make Thon stronger this year?
Absolutely. Yeah, so when we had to pivot our event to a virtual format last year, it was something that we had never, one, thought that we would have to experience, but two, ever experienced before, or had a really understanding or playbook of how we should go about that, how we should do that. So we were kind of starting from scratch, but what we learned was that we were able to engage people beyond just the State College area, beyond people that would have come to Thon Weekend if it were in person, because we were able to provide such an engaging live stream experience, and people wanted to tune in and they wanted to watch and they wanted to join us, and they felt like they were a part of it with us. And so that was a huge lesson that we learned that we're carrying into this year. We learned that Thon is so much more than the people who are in the Bryce Jordan Center. It's supporters everywhere. And so by being able to engage those supporters and allow them to feel like they're right there with us, we've really expanded our community. And so that's something that we're taking into this year. Our live stream will look a lot like it did last year. It will be really engaging with shots from what's happening in the building, but also things that you can only see on the live stream that are exclusive to the live stream, when the things that are happening in the building aren't too exciting or just procedural things or a dancer meal is being served. So we're really excited to be able to engage not only those supporters, but families who even in a normal year would not be able to come to the building because their child's on active treatment and they have to stay in the hospital or quarantined at home. And in the past, we didn't really have a great way to engage those families. Whereas this year, we're really excited about the opportunities that we can provide them to watch the live stream, one, but also have virtual engagement with our student volunteers that is just for them, that makes them feel just as special as if they would be with us in the building.
Great. I have to admit, I really enjoyed the live stream last year, and your move to that, like, I don't know, Monday Night Football booth thing with the different announcers and all that. I think that really was super engaging. For those of us who do want to attend Thon in person, and I know things are still in the works, but is there anything you can share with us about how Thon is going to deal with COVID protocols and whatnot?
Absolutely. So the key thing is that Penn State's campus has a requirement that everyone who is in a building on Penn State's campus be masked. So that's the biggest thing that you'll want to ensure that you're complying with, is just that you stay masked for the entirety of the time that you're in the building. All of our volunteers, all of the dancers, all of the families will all be required to be masked. So that's something that's super important. In the coming weeks, there'll be more information about what to do to be able to come to Thon. So keep an eye out for that on Thon's social media. But the biggest thing is it's an event that's open to anyone for the full 46 hours. You're able to walk up, it's free to all. So definitely come join us. If you are interested, keep an eye out on Thon's social media and on our website, thon.org, for more information as well.
So speaking of keeping an eye out for more information, you mentioned at the beginning of your talk that it's the 50th anniversary of Four Diamonds and the dance marathon. Is there anything we should be keeping an eye out for? Obviously, there's not going to be anything at the 50th hour, but are there any things that you have planned for that we should kind of keep an eye out for?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a celebration of our 50th anniversary that will be happening around midday on Saturday. Something that's also really exciting is the Donor and Alumni Relations Committee has been working on a time capsule from the last 50 years of Thon that we are going to be finalizing during Thon weekend and putting everything in. So we're excited about that. That'll be coming on Saturday as well. And just getting the opportunity to talk with some volunteers of prior years and remember where we came from and celebrate our roots and also where we've come and where we are today.
Great, Kate. You talked a lot about watching the live stream and donating on Donor Drive and mail and whatnot, but this group here is comprised of a lot of fundraising volunteers. And I look at my experience, I'm on the Student Affairs Development Board, so Student Affairs technically has Thon underneath it, but we don't do anything to help Thon. I think our assumption is that you're self-sustaining, you guys are doing a fantastic job, but as fundraising volunteers, is there anything unique that we can do to help Thon, in its mission and the directors?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the key things is just spreading the word, is sharing what we do with people. Something that's often not really well known is that childhood cancer is very, very different from adult cancer. It requires different treatment. It requires different research and resources, which is why what we're doing is so important. So that's really key to share with a lot of individuals. Most people think that, cancer research gets funding from the government and from other organizations that are fundraising, but that's very different. That adult cancer is very different from childhood cancer. So that's really important. That's what makes what we're doing really important. So just spreading the word. We had previously talked about Thon Nation. If you are interested in setting up a page and asking others for donations, as opposed to just making one gift yourself and calling it a day, I would definitely encourage you to look into that. Peer-to-peer fundraising is the type of fundraising that is, and it's hugely successful because we're able to reach people that Thon as an organization wouldn't necessarily be able to reach when we include our volunteers and our supporters and their supporters in who we're able to reach. So by you creating a page and sharing it with people that you're helping us to reach people that we would have never been able to reach on our own. And that's something that's hugely important, and it's a large part of Thon's fundraising. So those are two really important things, is just continuing to spread the word and support us in any way you can. The more people that join us in our mission and that know about what we do, the more successful we are.
Okay, fantastic. You mentioned about your connection to Thon going way back in time. And I know that some students come here have never heard of Thon. You have some students who come here because they participated in a mini Thon or they've heard of Thon and they want to come to Penn State because of that. How do you kind of do, for the lack of a better word, leadership succession? Right, the leaders of Thon are so important to its success, and that's a core. Can you tell us a little bit maybe about how that leadership succession is done and maybe the mentoring?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so as Ned mentioned, our leadership transitions once a year. We really don't have people in the same positions for more than at most 12 months at a time. And so that leadership is transitioning constantly. As soon as one Thon ends, transition begins to the next Thon, and that means transitioning new individuals into their roles. So that happens really quickly after Thon weekend. We begin to select the next leaders. The executive director is selected by the end of March. The executive committee is selected at the beginning of April, and then our spring captains are selected before the end of the semester. And then in the fall, we select all of the rest of our volunteers. So it's a constant learning process. We're constantly in contact with the people who have come before us to ask questions and to ensure that there's nothing that we've forgotten, because we do transition so frequently. But another thing that's really important for us is our transition material. We're very meticulous about writing down everything we do and all of the details about it, because we know that we can't rely on our own memories because someone else is going to be in the position next year. So we're very meticulous about writing down everything that we do and passing that information on. And that's really crucial to our success, is that we have so much transition material to fall back on, because every single person that's been in the position has written down everything that they have done and everything that the next person needs to know.
Hey, I want to see the size of that book. It's like, what, this?
All stored online. Can't be a book anymore.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to share with us, Kate, that we haven't talked about already?
I don't think so. No, just again, any amount that you can spread the word, that you can share what we do is so crucial to us. Encourage others to tune into the live stream. Thon is something it's really hard to understand if you haven't experienced it. So encourage others to join us for a little bit on the live stream to really understand what it is that we do and feel that connection to our mission.
Yeah, and I might comment about the live stream. A few years ago, you guys were having kind of some growing pains. So I know you might tune into the live stream and it was breaking up. And so if you have some friends out there like, yeah, I did that 5 years ago and it kind of wasn't that much fun, there have been huge advances that Thon has made to really make it a professional production and keep it streaming along the whole time there. Do I have any other questions? I have one last question for you, Kate, but I want to make sure we get all the questions from all our participants here today. All right, Kate, in the spirit of onward state, what kind of dinosaur would you be?
So typically my answer to this is pterodactyl, because I feel like it would be cool to be able to fly. It's a faster way of transportation, get places faster.
Very good. All right, folks, with that, I'd like to thank everyone for their participation today. I think Kate is going to share her slide again, maybe with the how to contact Kate and donor drive and whatnot. But really want to thank you all for joining us. And Kate, thank you so much for your time this afternoon and your leadership of Thon. As you can tell, Kate's quite an impressive person, and the work that she's doing is making such a difference for children and their families who are fighting cancer. Also, remind you that we have on March 16th, our next Noontime Knowledge is about a campus performing art group called Harmony. And so hopefully you can join us then. But until then, I wish you a happy and healthy winter weeks ahead and have a great rest of your afternoon. And we are